Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Listening to Uma Ma'am, Shraddha, Predna, I myself am in a Zen state. I'm myself so inspired, and in my mind I'm thinking, how can I include their learnings into my profession? But I will come out of that state of mind and come back to my topic, which is happiness. Because whatever we do in our lives, whether we're looking for whatever goals we are looking at, whether we're looking at improving our business or helping ourselves to come out of a problem, looking for more money, better health, whatever it is, the ultimate goal comes down to happiness, which is the ultimate purpose of life, basically. So today I'm going to talk about happiness. The year was 1995 when I think Sureshji and Uma Ma'am launched their IPO. Am I right, ma'am?
95.
Yes, the year was 1995 when I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old and listening to Baba Sehgal was considered cool. And we would collect these matchbox labels as a collection, as a hobby. Flying Air India, you felt like a Maharaja, which today feels like you're going to meet Yamraj. And when we traveled, we would stop at vendors and gas stations to ask for directions. And I, 6-year-old, would sit back in the car and I would see each milestone pass saying 23 kilometers left, 22 kilometers left, 21 kilometers left. Every week I would wait for my favorite serial, Ahat, to be telecasted on Thursday. When the landline phone rang at homes, we would rush because there was that suspense of who is calling now, and that suspense gave us adrenaline rush. And weighing yourself on these disco lights, weighing machine on railway stations, that gave us pleasure. It was 1995 and I was happy, and everybody said childhood days are the best days, they're the happiest days and they never come back. 20 years later, I realized they said it right. It was year 2015 when the wisdom of Birbal got replaced by the information of Google. When the joy of having a new car got changed to, the desire of owning a BMW. The 2-digit pocket money got replaced by 6-digit salary paycheck. Steve Maiden replaced the action ke school time. And I moved from DDA to DLF. But somehow amongst all this, from being happy, I was now trying to only look happy. There was so much luxury, there was so much education, there was so much success, but somehow happiness went missing. And this did not happen to me only, but people around me were going through the same transformation in a similar fashion. And I wondered what was happening, what was wrong. And that is when I started my journey of life coaching. And I started meeting people, giving training sessions. I became a life coach. I'm a corporate trainer, behavioral trainer. And I started to understand that what is causing unhappiness. Despite being in so much comfort, like Sureshji said, back in those days, we did not even have, forget mobile phones, but they do not have landline phones also in their houses. Today we are living a life where we have so much comfort, but yet we are complaining more. We are becoming more and more wealthy. But why is it that we are losing our happiness? And when I started understanding this, I realized that when they said that the childhood days were the happiest days, the happiness did not lie in childhood. The happiness actually lied in being a child. So today in this session, I would basically, in another next 15-20 minutes, whatever I have, I will share my learnings about unhappiness, working with so many people through my training sessions and my life coaching sessions. And I would share that what I believe causes unhappiness in people and how can we overcome this and become happy in life. Are you all interested in that?
Yes.
Okay. So, the first reason why I feel people are unhappy is what I call the missing piece syndrome. This is what people suffer from, because every unhappy person I met, they believed that there is something which is missing in their lives, and once they get that, once they attain that, they will be happy. Now this missing piece from life varied from case to case. For some people a better job, they thought a better job would get them happiness, and some people thought finding a loving partner and getting married would lead them to ultimate happiness, which I believe all the married men would feel it's a little stupid, right? But better job, loving partner, fame, money. In some cases, having a better housemate, people said that they will be happy if they find a good housemate. But what all these people did was, they focused on being happy in the future rather than being happy right now. All of them lived in the illusion that once they attain something, that is when they're going to be happy. One of the major reasons people are unhappy today is because they are trying to be happy rather than being happy in their lives. Like I said, they want something, they want to attain something to get that happiness in their life. They are trying to be happy, and they forget that whatever life they have, whatever health they have, whatever relationships they have, the finances they have, the children they have, there's so many luxuries and the beautiful gifts of life they have, they take it for granted, and they start looking for that one piece missing which is in their life, and they start thinking they are unhappy. Now a lot of people think that if they work hard, they will be successful, and once they are successful, they will be happy. But what these unhappy people fail to understand, if they start being happy first, they will ultimately reach to that successful point much more faster, because the research says that happiness increases your productivity by 30%. Now imagine if you have associated your happiness to some external object or a desire, what happens? Today you might think that a promotion may lead you to happiness. But once you get promoted, you might feel, okay, promotion is fine, but I need a life partner. I'm lonely, so probably marriage would lead you to happiness, and you start working to get married now. And once you get married, you realize that your boss is not right, so now it is that when you start your new business, that is going to lead to happiness in your life, and so on. This process is never ending, and that missing piece is always missing. It is always lost. You are never able to create that whole picture of your life for which you are waiting to be happy. These unhappy people fail to realize that happiness is not a result of something. Happiness lies in the process. A person who is making a lot of money but not loving his or her job may not have that level of happiness, but if a person loves his or her job but not earns a lot, that person may have higher level of happiness. So this was the missing piece syndrome, which was the first factor I categorized as the one factor why people are unhappy. And the second factor, which I call, is the roller coaster pleasure ride. Now, if I were to ask you to think about what makes you happy, there are some things on the screen which you can refer to, but what is it that makes you happy? Is it a chocolate? Is it a lazy Sunday, or doing adventurous activities, or naturals ice cream, having a trip abroad, or what is it that makes you happy? Chocolates, okay.
Helping others.
Helping others, okay. Traveling, okay. Now I'm sure people who haven't answered also have a few things in their mind, right? Now I would want to ask you another question. Think upon whether all these things that you have thought in your mind give you happiness. Do they actually give you happiness, or do they give you pleasure and excitement?
Pleasure and excitement.
Yes. Most of the things that we actually think in our life give us happiness. happiness are only giving us pleasure and excitement, which is short term, which is momentary, right? And it's not that we are to blame ourselves, but every day we are bombarded with so many advertisements which basically work hard to convince us that only a bottle of cola will give you happiness, a bite of chocolate is going to give you happiness, McDonald's is something to be loved, I'm loving it. So these people are really working hard to make you feel that it is all these material acquisition that is going to give you happiness. So of course we would fall into that trap, right? But the truth is that if we base our happiness on something external, then one day we may have it, the next day we may not have it. So if now you are thinking that all these things which we had in our mind are only giving us pleasure, then what gives happiness? Hold on, because I'll come to that. And don't worry, because the sociological studies say that most of the people actually do not know what makes them happy. What I want to share is the concept of baseline happiness. So when you said you get pleasure when you eat chocolate or when you travel or probably what other things you had in your mind, but something good that happens in your life, some promotion happens or you win a lottery or you get a new car or you eat good food for all the foodies, you feel an increase in your happiness levels, right? Now these happiness levels are temporary. And once the time passes, it may be 1 hour, 2 hours, or in some cases a promotion may be 1 month. In case of marriage, 6 months. They say 6 months is the honeymoon period. But then whenever this thing comes, okay, we've been married to more than 6 months. So. So basically your baseline happiness is higher. So that is why. So now what happens is when we associate our happiness to any external object, we do feel the happiness increase for some time, but then it falls back to your baseline happiness. Similarly, if something bad happens in your life, like you have a financial loss, you deal with the death of any loved ones, or accident happens, even serious illnesses like cancer, but people eventually come out of those states and they again bounce back to their baseline happiness. And so what happens is in life, when we are seeking happiness, these things which give us momentary pleasure, we try and seek them and we follow a roller coaster ride. For example, today we are not feeling good, we are not feeling happy, chalo bahar dinner karne chalte hain, or let's go for a movie, or let's eat chocolates, or let's eat ice creams, which gives an instant increase in happiness, but it does not lead to an increase in your baseline happiness, which is what we are looking at for true happiness. What is happiness if all this is pleasure? Happiness is a deep emotion wherein you are in a state of satisfaction, in a state of well-being, and you are calm, peaceful and content with whatever is happening in your life right now. That is happiness. Not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. That is happiness. The third factor which I feel is why people are unhappy, and I call it the smiling depression. Now, we human beings work on contrast, so we compare ourselves to others. There is a person, American journalist, who said that the definition of a wealthy man is the one whose income is $100 more than wife's sister's brother. That is what he defines as a wealthy man. Because we tend to compare ourselves to others. We might be doing well in our lives, but then, we compare our financial situations, our social status, we compare our, physical appearances, and this is what causes unhappiness. Okay, so now what happened? Facebook came into picture, and Facebook started creating perfect lives of people. So whenever we are on Facebook, we feel that everybody is going on honeymoon, everybody is traveling abroad, everybody's writing books. And I am not kidding. When I was preparing this presentation last night, for 30 seconds I opened my Facebook, for 30 seconds, and I saw these posts on my Facebook, only in 30 seconds, wherein somebody was on a holiday, somebody's article got published, somebody was eating good food, and somebody getting married and all this, and which made me realize, okay, 10 o'clock in the night, I'm working on a presentation and people are doing this, and that is how I started comparing my life with others. If this is all causing unhappiness, what is happiness? Where do we find happiness then? So I have two techniques for finding happiness in life. And these two techniques, the first technique I call it the happiness hygiene. So we have to prepare ourselves for happiness. And the three elements of happiness hygiene are body, mind and soul. This say, Pehla Sukh Nirogi Kaya. So the first element I want to focus on is body. You have to take care of your body, you have to sleep, you have to eat right, you have to take care of yourself, and other than, if you don't do that, nothing is going to lead to happiness. And the second thing is mind. Even if you're fit, physically fit, but mentally ill, no good situation can you would be able to enjoy. The second thing is to be able to keep your mind healthy. And the third thing is satisfying your soul, which Prerna very beautifully said, surround yourself with people, whom you can trust, and you get described by the people you get surrounded. So one is relationships, and she used the number 5, which is also the Dunbar number, which says that you can have 5 people in your life whom you can actually trust, and you can call them anytime for any help. And these are just 5, not 500 Facebook friends, but 5 real people in real lives whom you can find happiness from. In the base to these 3 things is what I place wealth. Why I place wealth is because if you don't have wealth, and by wealth I don't need more money, but sufficient money to support this body, mind and soul, to be able to support your medical issues or fitness issues or your mental issues, and soul, to be able to satisfy your soul with traveling, with learning and everything. So the foundation of all this is wealth. And on the above is gratitude and forgiveness, because if you don't have gratitude and forgiveness, there is no way you can be happy. I'll take 1 more minute, sir. So now gratitude, if you don't forgive people, you consider yourself a victim, and a victim can never be happy. So forgiveness and gratitude is very important. And the last thing which I feel that the second technique is, if you have to actually seek happiness in your life, you have to restore yourself as a human being. And when you have to restore yourself as a human being, compare yourself to a child. We are not born happy. We somehow learn unhappiness in life. A child is never unhappy. So when you see a child is full of love, compassion and affection, and if we do not build these qualities in ourselves, if we don't start caring for others, if we are only focusing on us, then we cannot achieve the level of happiness. We cannot higher our baseline happiness. The second is internal validation of self-image. The child does not think whether I'm wearing branded clothes or whether somebody is looking more or whether I'm looking good or bad. He just enjoys being himself or herself. And that is what the internal validation comes from within in a child. The third thing is present in the moment. Have you ever seen a child following an ant which you can't even see from your eyes? That is the ability of the child to be present in that moment, and that is what it makes him or her happy. And the final thing is, the most important thing is self-love, because if you can't love yourself, if you can't be your friend, you can't really seek happiness from the outer world. There is no one pill for happiness. There are multiple things that lead to happiness. And happiness is something which, when gets lost, we realize the importance of it. But ultimately, it's your choice to be happy or to not be happy. With this, I would want to end the session. I had to rush towards the end, but then if anybody of you would want to speak to me after that, I would be glad to elaborate any of the things that I have discussed today. And just thank